People may not be familiar with Panini. Tell us a little about the organization. What is Panini?
Panini, we are used to say internally that is a 79 startup company, 78 years old startup company, because we are going to do our 80th anniversary next year, actually. We have been founded by the founder is from Panini family, that is a famous family in Turin, Italy. Over the years, we have become basically one of the two leaders in the check scanner business. So basically, our primary customer are financial services and banks. And thanks to our bestseller Vision X that has been launched 30 years ago, we are still a very important player in this space.
I know.
But thanks to listening to our customer, we have decided basically to move towards this space of identity. And this is the reason why we're here today at the Identity Week, now enhancing our business line, launching a new solution, a new patented formula, new patented method to recognize, authenticate person, giving back directly to them their credential, biometric credential and personal information. And this method is called BioCred. And this basically is the reason why we are now approaching this space of the identity and verification.
This is Identity at the Center. If it has anything to do with IAM, this is the go-to podcast. Now your hosts, Jim McDonald and Jeff Stedman.
Welcome to the Identity at the Center podcast. I'm Jeff, and that's Jim. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jeff. How are you?
Not so bad yourself?
Doing great. Here at Identity Week America 2024. Gotten to know our guest, Marta, over the last couple of days. Fantastic person. Really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, we've got a sponsor spotlight episode for everyone today. These are special episodes that we develop in collaboration with our friends. And today we've got Panini. They're going to be walking us through some of the things that they're ready to announce here. So just make it crystal clear, right? This is a sponsored episode. We are here at Identity Week America, and we've gotten to know Marta from Panini. If you want to visit the website, it's panini.com, PANINI.com. And so Marta Nappo, Strategic Marketing and Business Development Director, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Hi to both of you. And I'm really excited to be here today.
Well, it is definitely probably a career highlight to be on the Identity Center podcast. So I totally understand that. Let's talk a little bit about your background, because typically we'll start with how did you get into identity? And I'd like to understand a little bit about, your perception of that.
I must say that I'm a newcomer here into this identity space because I spent the majority of my career so far, 21 years, or even more than 21 years, in the automotive segment. Out of which 6 years was I spent in financial services service for automotive business, where frauds and identity verification, risk assessment, all this kind of stuff are really more and more important year over year. And then I basically spent 1 year in doing also some advisory for startups that are really playing in this space and as well in technological space and cloud-based space. And then finally, 1 year ago, a little bit less than 1 year ago, I landed to Panini, that is still based in my own city, Turin, Italy. So, and here I am.
Well, that's exciting. Welcome to the identity space. It's very warm waters. Come right in. People may not be familiar with Panini. Tell us a little about the organization. What is Panini?
Panini, we are used to say internally that is a 79 startup company, 78 years old startup company, because we are going to do our 80th anniversary next year, actually. We have been founded by the founder is from Panini family, that is a famous family in Turin, Italy. Over the years, we have become basically one of the two leaders in the check scanner business. So basically, our primary customer are financial services and banks. And thanks to our bestseller Vision X that has been launched 30 years ago, we are still a very important player in this space. But we have thanks to listening to our customer, we have decided basically to move towards this space of identity, and this is the reason why we're here today at the Identity Week, now enhancing our business line, launching a new solution, a new patented formula, a new patented method to recognize, authenticate person, giving back directly to them their credential, biometric credential and personal information. And this method is called BioCred, and this basically is the reason why we are now approaching this space of the identity and verification.
So normally I would ask, how did you come up with the name Panini? But it sounds like it's a family name.
Yes, it is.
So that answers that question.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Really, the first years of the company, in the first years, the company was based only in Italy. Then, due to the fact we were serving 8 out of the 12 major banks in US, we have decided to open a branch in Dayton, Ohio in 1998. And so we have a big presence in US as well. And we are currently, in reality, a really global company because we are serving 14 countries in the world, but still, US is our major place, so major, of course, market. So
I take it that in the check verification space, you're already doing a fair amount of identity and access management. So this is really enhancing some of the capabilities that you already had.
To be honest, we are just launching the solution, our solution suite today. So we are now currently running some POC, some proof of concept with a couple of organizations. One in the bank industry space, so one of our customers that really would like to apply our solution, not only for recognizing, allowing their customer to have a frictionless and smooth experience in the access and during the access of a branch or at a teller station. But on the other hand, we are having another POC in the healthcare business in Italy because they are really obsessed by the time effectiveness of some operation and the way we are authenticating the recurring users, because could be either for the doctor or for the patient, depending on the use case we are dealing with. This could be really a good solution to that. So we have a couple of POC in place currently, and we hope that it could open us several doors, also not just for these 2 verticals, but even for other verticals.
It sounds like a kind of a core functionality that you're working on right now, or that you're making available, is the identity verification.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know because identity verification, being that it's hot, it's also kind of new and taking form in terms of how vendors are approaching the market. For Panini, how do you define identity verification?
For us, there are 2 different moments, basically. So the first of all, we have found a space for us in the in-presence, so far in the in-presence identity verification. So this is because we have noticed that during the pandemic period, a lot of investment have been fostered in the online. We were all forced to work remotely. So we are getting used to be recognized, basically to access, thanks to our smartphone everywhere. So to be verified everywhere in online, when we say online experience. And while we have seen, listening to our customer, there are still some ineffective processes in identification of the customer, because mostly our customer, for example, at the teller station, they are simply looking at the ID and the person that they have in front of us, or maybe using a chip AP solution, so basically the debit card, the credit card, and their PIN to validate the identity of the person they have in front. while we have decided, we have separated the two moments of the identification. So first of all, the moment of the enrollment, in which, of course, that it takes a little bit, we say, not much time, but a little bit more time than in the next phases. So where, thanks to our solution, the organization could basically enroll the person, verifying an identity document, could be either an identity card, passport, mobile driving license, whatever, and then adding some biometry, in our case, the fingerprints, and encrypting everything in a QR code or NFC tag that you are giving back immediately to the customer. So as soon as the customer, the user, let's say customer, patient, whatever, as soon as the user has downloaded from the app their QR code, they automatically basically deleted from our server. So no one is storing any personal data, either biometric data or personal data inside our server. So this is for us, let me say, the first phase of the authentication. And this, every time the person, the customer, the patient is coming back to the organization, they just need to show the QR code and put one of the fingers they have selected in the enrollment phase, and they will be immediately matched and recognized and granted the access to whatever they have to go. Laboratories, labs, hospitals, bank account, and this kind of thing.
You mentioned something there that I thought was really interesting about not keeping the data on the server. And it kind of leads into the question that I was processing, right? Because being a company that's born in the European Union, focus on privacy seems to be heightened. And I think that almost shows that that is part of the focus. Am I on something?
No, you are totally right. You are totally right, because honestly, we are obsessed by preventing the privacy of our customers, the customers of our customers, and as well of our employees, because being a European-based company, GDPR has been enforced since quite some time. So we are really taking a lot of care of basically preventing the privacy of especially of sensitive data, either they be biometric data or personal information data. But I think that this kind of regulation is going to come into play in several other regions, and fully Asia as well. And there are some countries that are adopting this kind of regulation. And I was recently reading a research based upon the US Americans, basically, the US people. And they will say that basically 78% are reluctant to provide their data, their personal data, to an organization. But on the other hand, 70% thinks that they will need something more secure than password to access, especially where there are big risks at stake. So to access their bank account or their health provider, insurance provider, and so on and so forth, platform. So I think that this is becoming more and more important, not just in Europe, but really everywhere.
That's what I was going to say. I think there's a heightened concern with having biometric data being on a server and it being able to be potentially breached, just like any other data. And I think not just European, but also American and, probably globally, people are becoming more cautious about giving their fingerprint or their face scan or anything like that in terms of being worried about what might happen to it. But the process that you're using really prevents that from becoming an issue.
I think it's important because you can change a password. And as much as I wish I could, I can't change my face, right? So if my facial recognition data were to become public domain, that's no longer a viable biometric for me. It's a fingerprint. And then, what happens at that? They just don't. So I'm very curious to understand more about how that works.
But I must say, as I was saying, as soon as the enrollment of the person finished and you download the QR code you have received from your email, everything is basically deleted from our server, and the only person that is keeping the credential is the person itself. So it's like kind of first step towards a decentralized identity, no? Mm-hmm. And we know that this is coming, decentralized identity, self-sovereign identity, and so on and so forth. So it's really much coming. And so basically the customer itself is keeping it with him, and we just need to bring your QR code or your NFC tag and your finger. And the reason why we started from the finger, you mentioned the facial recognition, that for sure is something we are going to add inside the fish. It's in our roadmap, no? But we have preferred to start from the finger because it's currently is more secure, also due to, we know that the AI is coming into play now on all the deep fake for the facial recognition and so on. So we have decided to start from the fingerprint because we have leveraged our knowledge in treating and transmitting image safely, the one that we have developed to transmit, to scan and transmit, check images. And so we did the same for the fingerprint. And thanks to this fact, basically our fingerprint has been recognized by FBI as one of the most secure and reliable. So we know that facial is going to play a big important role, and we are going, of course, to the further development. We prefer to start just to be, again, to prevent as much as possible, to reassure our customer as much as possible of the keeping secure and keeping reliable our solution and their data. And the same it will be with the palm print and contactless technology that is coming. So
that's smart. I think you're starting from a position where you already have knowledge and capability in that space. So yeah, totally makes sense to move from there. I'm curious from I'm going to take the role of the jaded CISO or security person, right? I see a lot of products in the space. What are some of the features or benefits that you see for your solution that sets you apart from others in the space?
Apart from the one we have just discussed.
Exactly.
Because this is for sure the most important one. But then, as I was saying, the reliability of our fingerprint, the fact that we would like to be a turnkey solution for our customer. So basically, we would like to be an access point, entrance point. We would like to be fully integrating in their workflow. Now, I'm thinking, for example, the workflow to open a new bank account. Now, we would like to be the entry point, and then afterwards to be fully integrated. We have this capability, thanks to the fact we are not a big organization. It was the reason why at the beginning I said we are a 79 years old startup company. We are not a big company, so we have the flexibility to adapt and customize our solution into the workflow of our customer. And on the other hand, due to the fact that we have moved all the feature of our solution into a cloud-based architecture, it should be very easy for the organization is going to adopt our solution, even for not the bigger one, the biggest one, not the one that have big IT department. I think that it could be very easy to basically, I'm not saying it's totally plug and play, but it should, our aim is to be as much as possible easy to be deployed, and also the maintenance. We can take care about the maintenance thanks to this cloud-based infrastructure, and of course releasing the customer from some staging cost that in such kind of technologies could be a pain point for some organization.
Do you find that your presence already in the check scanning area I would assume that would lead you into, oh, here's the things we heard from customers that we're looking to adopt that. I would imagine aligning it as part of that onboarding process, or whatever that looks like, is probably, I don't want to say easy, but maybe simpler from that approach. Is that fair?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Of course, our primary customer are banks and insurances and financial services operators. So it was easier to listen to their need and to develop, something based upon our knowledge. So we start as an hardware, I must say, I don't want to hide myself. We started as an hardware manufacturing company because we were producing a check scanner for them, even if some have already the capability to scan ID and to basically be connected in the back end with an IDV provider, so identity verification provider. But we are enhancing our lineup to satisfy some of their need, and when we ended up with this solution, then the fact that we are now cloud-based is a first step towards an hardware agnostic solution. So that we are clear here, we are presenting both the hardware part, that is a tablet, secure tab, and the software part. But our aim in the future is to become less hardware-centric and more basically to move into the space of the identity, move towards an hardware agnostic solution. And this could open up a lot of other verticals, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've been focusing this conversation on finance, but identity verification is exploding all over the place. Government, healthcare, like you mentioned. I can see, use cases in education, right? All kinds of stuff out there. You mentioned you're launching this sort of today, right? We're at Identity Week America, and you guys are on the show floor. What has been the initial sort of feedback as people, as you get the message out there? What are your thoughts on that?
I think the feedback was quite good. There were some people genuinely interested in our solution. It was very important to be here, first of all, to understand which are the questions, what they would like to know. Mm-hmm. And they were surely interested into the fact that we are not keeping or storing their data anywhere. They have tested our solution, and it was quite smooth. It was really smooth and quick. So they have been able to test.
Makes a good first impression.
Yes, first impression. And the other question that we have received, honestly, was, can I put all this feature into my device? And we were explaining that it's absolutely in the roadmap. We have just launched the cloud-based infrastructure, so it is where we would like to go. Mm-hmm. It will still take some months and some time, yes. But it should come. And the other point was the one I briefly mentioned before, that is the capability to add additional services into it. Probably we haven't figured out either ourselves how many services we could potentially add to this platform. We have some in mind. So I was facial recognition, contactless, palm recognition. But I do think that there are other services that are potentially be embedded. So for example, we are now collecting signature with our device. There is a partner we're dealing with in Italy that is a governmental supplier that is really much interesting in making the signature, the advanced signature with the fingerprint. So basically to have our fingerprint certified and recognized with the capability to sign officially, formally, some important document. So this is something we are thinking of and we would like to develop. So in terms of even not just access management, but also contract life management and this kind of thing. So I do think that there are many opportunities out there that starting from the identity verification and the identity we can pursue.
Is there anything that's been surprising from feedback you've gotten, or just having announced this now into the market space? Anything surprising jump out at you, or is like, yeah, this is pretty much kind of what we expected? What are your thoughts there?
I'm not saying that is surprising. I think I was aware, having read a lot about this word. There is still some reluctancy to destroy it. We need to lower the barrier. Mm-hmm. And in order to lower the barrier, we need to basically start pivoting and showing successful cases and partnering with the right partner, to rely as well on their brand awareness and their say in this space, because I think it's it is what we were discussing before. People don't know exactly where their data are kept.
That trust factor, right?
Yeah, the trust factor. Yes, the trust factor. So I think is growing rapidly, definitely, because we have been here last as an attendance. We have been here last year, and this year there are much more company providing such kind of services, much more company working in this space. So it's growing really rapidly. In the healthcare, they are estimating a growth of more than 16% up until 2031. So I think there are really, it's a growing, there is a growing interest, growing market, but there are still some barrier to be destroyed. And
well, it's still a relatively new area. I feel like this is an area where there's new solutions like yours in the market, and people are still kind of figuring it out, right? And how to adopt this into those things. I think there's an untapped market too for really any organization where you have to do any sort of validation for who is on the other end of the phone, for example. And I think of a use case that Jim, you and I come up quite against a lot is the help desk. You forgot your password, and then now I've got to call somebody for support. What does the company help desk do? It's usually not a great solution to validate identity. And the more options that we have available to be able to say, oh, here's how I prove Marta is who she is, and not the deep fake Marta who is calling me trying to get her password. Solutions like that, I think, would be really interesting for organizations to understand, like, yeah, this is not just finance. This is not just government. Any organization where you have a human interaction with another person that has to validate in a certain assurance level or trust level that you want to have, to say, am I okay to provide this new password, this new credential, whatever it may be, this piece of data? I think there's a benefit there as well.
It's true. I can think about my previous professional experience. In my previous company, I was working for a multinational company with thousands of employees, so 68,000 of employees. And
so small company.
A small company. Yeah. So, and our badges, there are some badges that allows you to run into some labs or into some where there are the engineering playing a role, new vehicles, new feature of the vehicle, and there are just some people allowed to enter in such spaces, in such rooms, in such labs, workshops, and so on and so forth. But really, if somebody has stolen my badge, could enter easily in that and discover maybe the new feature of the product that is going to be launched. While if I could put simply my finger or my iris or my face, they won't be able to do it. So I really think that there is a space even for company, as you mentioned, company hospitality. In the hospitality, so think about
like a room key maybe, or access to the Marriott lounge or things like that, right?
Exactly. As a really a recurring customer for the Marriott close to our offices in Dayton, and it could be really, really smooth process if I can quickly enter or quickly be enrolled for my staying. So I fully agree that there are. And schools, you mentioned before, university, college, and these kind of spaces where there are a lot of people going back and forth.
So many places where you need the physical access. Yeah. So when Jeff and I talk about the sponsor spotlight episodes, we a lot of times say, this is our audience's first opportunity to hear about a company, hear about your solutions, and kind of determine whether or not the solution solves a problem that they have. So I think you've given a good overview of your solution, but I'd like to also ask it in this way, which is, what are some of the use cases that if folks who are listening or watching, they're having, you can help them solve that problem. So maybe just can touch on 2-3 use cases that these are the people that should be contacting you.
Absolutely. There are one very interesting one is in the financial services business. There is one bank we're dealing with that would like to apply our solution for both for customer and employees, but more for their employees, because they are experiencing some frauds in accessing their basically their system, banking system. So, and if they are able to put in place these multi-factors based upon biometric recognition, verification of the person, they will be allowed to lower their insurance premium for the risk of their company. So this, I think, is a very interesting case we are dealing with at the moment, that I'm sure this is not the only financial service provider that is dealing with. Another use case, and we have a couple of use cases as well in the healthcare business. So one is for to access, to dispatch therapies, right therapies to the right patient. And again, this is a two ways authentication. So both for the patient, to be sure that is the right patient that we are served, and on the other side for the doctors and the nurse that has to access to the cabinet with the right therapy and so on and so forth. So this, I think, is another important case. And the third one is, as I was saying before, it seems that for the caregivers, especially for the home care, the person that, and this is a case we are dealing with for an Asian country, where our solution will allow the medical provider, the healthcare provider, to monitor not only that the person that is going to dispatch the therapy at home to a patient, not only to recognize, to certify that the patient is the right one and the therapy is the right one for him or for her, but as well to monitor the time of the activities. And currently, what I can tell you is that in all segments, we are, in my company as well, but in all segments that we are dealing with, financial services, healthcare, car rental business, hospitality, they're all obsessed by the time effectiveness. So to really keep as much as possible the process frictionless, smoothless, and improve the customer experience on one end, but reducing as much as possible the time of the activity of the operators, of the users. So these, I think, are 2 or 3 use cases that we are dealing with at the moment.
Those are great. Putting ideas in my head of how I can see that working. Now, if somebody is hearing that and saying, okay, well, that is a use case for me, how do they go about learning more about the solution?
So, of course, we are here to explain to whoever it is interested. Of course, there is our website, and you can reach any of us out, and we will be more than happy to provide.
I'm going to put your LinkedIn profile in our show notes. so people can reach out to you directly
Thank
that
you.
way. Plus the website, right? Yeah, definitely, for sure.
So I will receive a lot of questions.
A lot of nice messages.
I will be glad to receive it.
Yeah.
So yes, we are prepared. We are prepared to provide answers. And also, as I was saying, being not a huge company, we are also quite flexible to listen to the need of the person the organization is contacting us and try to fine-tune our solution into their workflow. So this is...
Do you have some ideas on how... So, okay, I'm sold. I want to get this thing, but sometimes I have to make a justification to the company to say, I want to make this investment. What are some of the ways that you see your customers measuring the success? You mentioned one thing which I think is really important is maybe potentially savings on insurance premiums for cybersecurity. I'd imagine, this might be harder to quantify, things like a better user experience, which can be quite subjective. But have you thought about some of the dimensions where somebody can say, oh, here are some of the ways I can measure the success of this capability?
Yes. So, of course, what you mentioned are totally some first points of attention. So capability to lower, so economical reason not to lower, but as well what we were discussing before, the time that each activity is, especially if you have to log in and log out frequently from a system, the time you're spending in doing it could really provide some savings to the organization, savings or better customer experience that you can then measure with the NPS score and such kind of score, that especially the financial services are really keen on. But so for sure, customer experience, time effectiveness, so time lapse of the various activities, lowering the insurance cost, and also being a cloud-based infrastructure behind. Of course, this could be a reduction in the staging cost, infrastructural cost, needs for assistant, IT providers, consultancy, and so on and so forth, these kind of things. And last but not least, that is really the first point for which we have basically entered into this space, the number of frauds. So I
That's
think
always
that
the key.
Yes.
Reduce fraud.
Reduce frauds, absolutely reduce frauds, thanks to a high quality and reliable system and solution. And
Yeah, those things can be dollarized because companies are dealing with those kind of account takeovers and account onboarding fraud. And so they have real numbers, and if they can achieve a reduction because they're moving away from knowledge-based authentication, or maybe you have a card and a PIN, I mean, that's not really as strong as a fingerprint, which only one person has my fingerprint, and it's me.
So far. So we're not going to cut your thumbs off, right?
I wasn't sure if that's where you're going, but yeah.
Well, it's exciting times. I think, this is, for me, I love seeing new choices in the market because I think this drives innovation. And it's an exciting time. So congratulations on getting out there. And, I would encourage people, visit panini.com, visit the website, get more information. This is a capability that every organization really should be considering how we're going to leverage this, because it reduces risk. It can improve the user experience. And both of those are critical to the success of any identity program, any security or risk program. So it's exciting times. We were talking before we hit record here, and we always like to end shows on a lighter note, and kind of have a little bit of fun towards the end. You're the first volleyball teacher that we've had on our show. So I'm fascinated. I want to understand more about this because I'm just a casual fan. I don't know about you, Jim. It's like I see the events, and we just had the Olympics, and so there was a lot of excitement around that.
During the Olympics, I've become an expert, and then I forget everything.
And by the way, Italy, my country, has won with a female team, has won the Olympics. So
so you can do a little bit of gloating, and that's fine. We're happy to do that. So congratulations to Italy. But tell me about, I guess, being a volleyball teacher. What does that mean? Take me through like a day. Are there things that like surprise you still about it, or I don't know? I'm just fascinated. Teach me. I'm too short to be a volleyball player, so I get that already.
So I think I've been playing volleyball since I was 8 years old. My best friend really is the one I met when I was 9 years old playing volleyball still. So I think it has played a big part in my life because it helps me to have some discipline, to be able also to face to be disciplined and to be capable to bear some sacrifice in order to succeed, and as well the fact that I was used to have competition when I was playing. So to put every time in front of the need to do a good performance, no, not just for you but for the entire team, has helped me a lot at the beginning as a player, then afterwards as a volleyball teacher, because it's a team working, so it's a team, it's a team sport. Mm-hmm. So it's important how you perform, but it's even more important how you perform inside the team. And this is basically being capable to teach, train 12 teenagers at the same time with completely different mindset, interests, and capabilities, but being capable to train them to work, to play effectively towards the same goal, to achieve towards the same goal also with good mood. It has taught me a lot, even for my following professional life. I must say that I'm not more able and not capable now. I'm still keeping alive my patent, being training twice per year with the most advanced technology and materials and so on and so forth. But I'm not capable now currently to play volleyball and to teach volleyball because I'm traveling too much for my job.
That's a tough one to travel. Have people can run pretty much anywhere or walk or go to a weight room or things like that. Volleyball's a little bit different. You can't really travel that, and it's not like at least not in the U.S. There's not as many volleyball courts. I would imagine. It's interesting because Jim, you mentioned we become an expert every 4 years, right? When it comes through, and I see a lot of people. We have sand volleyball has gotten more popular, I think, and it's a very approachable sport. And I see a lot of people. What's a tip that you can give to people out there to say, okay, the next time you go play volleyball, try this, and maybe they can see some success? Because I see a lot of people have different modes that they'll try to put their hands together to do a bump or something like that. But what's a tip that you can help me up my game with?
I must say that mobility is what it's all about. So I think you need to keep not standing really fixed in your place. Always look at your counterpart and the ball, basically the ball, keeping you moving to be able to be really reactive. This is, I think, it's so reactivity is, I think it's playing a very important role because you don't know exactly where the ball is going. You can imagine, and if you are capable to react immediately, and you will be the first, of course, you have an advantage. You need to be flexible, adaptable, and this is a concept that is very much usual as well.
Well, it sounds simple. It sounds simple, but it's not really, right? Because really the goal is to float within the space and cover the blank space. Because if you're working as part of a team, you need to be able to not cover the same place because it leaves more space.
This is where the majority of the balls falls because of accountability. So this is another you have touched another very important point, because when the ball is in between two players, you need really to be accountable and to say loudly, to tell loudly that you are going to go. And to prevent either to go both
or neither.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know Jim, you're a baseball guy, but it's kind of like, the fly ball. I got it. And they run into each other, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm rabbit hole time. But go into YouTube and type in dogs playing volleyball.
Okay. Now you got my interest.
Oh, you will be blown away.
Dogs playing volleyball.
Yeah, there's, especially this one dog who I saw on TV this week. So one of the things I do is when I travel is I'll watch the local news, and they had this big story on this dog, and he hits the ball off of his nose, and he's really good. I mean, I think what he does is tries to hit the ball back to whoever hit it to him. So it's like, if you can get the ball, bounce it to him, he can set you up for a spike.
The ultimate teammate.
He's the ultimate teammate. Yeah, he's
I must see
as tackly as can be.
All right, so you need to send me that link so I can put it in our show notes.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. If you go into YouTube and type dog playing volleyball, there's tons of videos. And I will send you one, so we have one, but just know out there, YouTube's available to everybody, dog playing volleyball.
Not sure I'm ready for to teaching some dog, even mine, on which I'm not so successful. So.
Yeah, I have 3 dogs, and they don't fetch. They go and get the ball, and then now it's their ball, and that's pretty much where it ends. Okay, well, I don't know how we're going to top dogs playing volleyball. That's a good...
It's pretty impossible.
Marta, thank you so much for taking time with us. Congratulations on the launch. We'll be keeping an eye out for you. And thanks for spending time here with us at Identity Week America.
Thank you to you.
We'll have links in our show notes. So visit the website, panini.com, PANINI.com. We'll have a link to your LinkedIn profile so people can send messages there. And for Jim and I, we're at idacpodcast.com. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. And we'll see you in the next one.
You've been listening to Identity at the Center. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit the website at identityatthecenter.com. See you next time on Identity at the Center.